What happens when we get distracted? We get pulled off course a little bit. What happens when we get pulled off course? We start falling behind a little bit. And what happens when we start falling behind? We start being not very nice to be around. So what we want to do is make sure we stay on course. So how do we stay on course? Our world is filled with distractions. We have distractions of, what am I going to eat today? We have the distraction of our kids. We have the distraction of the people that are between point A and point B of where we're trying to go that we're running into. We have the distractions of friends and family. We have the distraction of news. We have the distraction. We have a lot of distractions. So what makes successful people successful, one of the biggest things, is their ability to manage distractions. Think about it in your day. How do you manage your distractions? How fast can you go from what you're doing to being distracted to get back on track of what you're doing? You know, if you get distracted and an hour later you're finally getting back to what you were doing to begin with, you're not managing your distractions very well. Right? So you got to think about, how are you going to set up parameters, or how are you going to set up guidelines so you get back on track? And you want to teach your kids to do the same thing. Two biggest distractions for kids are video games and social media. Big part of it is, every time they go on social media and they get a like or a share, they get a dopamine release. That's your feel-good neurotransmitter. And so they get this dopamine release, so they want to do it more, and they get more and more distracted. Same thing with video games. Actually, video games are even better at this, the high-end marketed video games, because they know that even hearing your footsteps as you're playing the video game releases a little bit of dopamine. Makes them want to take more footsteps. And then if they beat somebody in a battle or win some prize, huge dopamine release. Again, these create major distractions. So, how do you control distractions? How I do it? Timelines. I have certain timelines when I'm working on things in the office for the first part of the day. I don't answer my phone. I don't answer text. I don't look at social media. I don't do any of that stuff. I go to the job at hand. Then, once I get past that point, I still have my focuses that I'm looking at, but I allow those other things to kind of come in. But I give them small windows. Once I get through that small window, I get back on track. I have a checklist. I don't want to say a checklist. I have a list. Top priority. I keep going back to that top priority until I get that top priority checked off. Then, time allowing, I'll go to my second priority. I don't make a huge checklist. That's also a big distraction. We get caught, we're talking about dopamine, we get caught with, what can I check off? We end up putting a lot of little things in that are of no consequence because we feel good that we got to check something off. Right? My goal is to check off just one thing for the whole day. So think about that a little bit. Think about, are you trying to check off lots of little things, which is creating more distractions? Or are you checking off just one really important thing to make you a little bit more successful for the day? Remember, we don't get successful at once. We get successful one step at a time, one day at a time. So, my name's Ron Achenbach. I hope you find this useful and are able to be more successful and be less distracted. Now, stop watching this. Get back to something important.